Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, out of Voice Radio. So today, we're going to be looking at a very exciting new item card from the upcoming Forbidden Light expansion. It's the weirdly named Eneporter. At least that's what it's called according to the lovely Autobot Tesla, and I do tend to take their word on things like this. It is a new item card and it reads quite simply, move a special energy from one of your opponent's Pokemon to another one of your opponent's Pokemon. It's kind of like a multi-switch. Except instead of moving special energy around your field, it moves special energy around your opponent's field. I know multi-switch actually allows you to move any of your energy around. This only allows you to move your opponent's special energy. But come on, you only really use multi-switch for special energy the vast majority of the time. So I suppose the question becomes, when would this be useful? Now, we've actually seen a bunch of Pokemon in the past that have actually had very similar attacks to this. It's just attacks where you go, okay, we're going to move your energy around, we're going to try and hurt you. One of the most popular was Ambipom G that was played in all these SP decks back in the day. Tail code for a single energy on... I know Ambipom isn't a basic Pokemon, but because it was an SP Pokemon, it was a basic Pokemon. Move an energy card attached to the defending Pokemon to another of your opponent's Pokemon. Now, back in the SP era days, everyone was playing Claydol. Claydol was one of the most phenomenally, ridiculously brilliant support Pokemon that we've ever had. Sat on the bench and used Cosmic Power, which allowed you to put one or two cards on the bottom of your deck and then draw until you've got 6 cards in your hand. That, ladies and gentlemen, was a phenomenal ability. The problem was that the attack on Claydol just plain wasn't good. So what you would see is Ambipom taking all the good energy from your opponent and attaching it to Claydol to say, ha ha ha, now you can't do anything because, okay, I suppose now Claydol can use the energy to retreat, but that's about it. Claydol's not a good attacker. This does a very, very similar thing. Actually, let's give you one more nice example of this, slightly more recent. How about Slowking? Now, this was on an ability, which made it quite a lot more fun here, because it meant that you could use it every turn without even needing to attack, and on a coin flip, it allowed you to just move one of your opponent's energy. It was an awful lot of fun. It saw play with Seismitoad in these Disruption-style decks to try and make sure that your opponent never had the energy that they wanted. Energy denial is a very good thing, and I know this isn't technically energy denial, it's energy moving, but it's still an awful lot of fun. So, why would you do this? Well, we'll go back to the Claydol example. One of the issues with the Claydol example at the moment is that the support Pokemon everybody seems to be playing is Tapu Lele. And Tapu Lele has quite an interesting and useful attack, Energy Drive, that does 20 damage for each energy attached to both active Pokemon. Which means if all you do is sit there and move double colorless energy to Tapu Lele, that's actually going to be a little bit of an issue because Tapu Lele is going to be doing a lot of damage with Energy Drive. And double colorless energy a lot of the time is what you're going to be wanting to move. If we look at the format at the moment, we've got a very special energy heavy format. But double colorless is maybe the main one. If we look at Pokemon like Zoroark GX, for instance, that is an extremely good Pokemon, an extremely popular Pokemon that relies on double colorless energy. The thing is, if you move double colorless energy from Zoroark to Tapu Lele, it's not actually going to be all that useful for you, because it means that Tapu Lele is then going to do Energy Drive for a lot of damage. But once or twice it could be fun, because you're stopping Zoroark using Riotous Beating. How about instead moving it to something like an Octillery? An Octillery very much reminds me of Claydol back in the day. Brilliant ability. Draw until you got 5 cards in your hand with Abyssal Hand, but the attack hug is kind of terrible and crucially is for a 2 water, 1 colorless attack cost. That is not an attack you're going to be using very easily, especially when your opponent drops something like a double colorless onto it. Yeah, that sounds a little bit more like fun to me. Now, one of the other things that makes me interested here is that the other big special energy is strong energy. Now, for a lot of sets, Pokemon would pick 1 or 2 types per set and release these special types of energy like strong energy that reads, this can only be attached to a fighting Pokemon. Obviously, the other ones are different types of Pokemon. This card provides fighting energy only while it's attached to a fighting Pokemon. If this card is attached to anything other than a fighting Pokemon, discard this card. So you couldn't actually attach strong energy to a Tapu Lele, you just wouldn't be able to do that. But if you were to use Eneporter to take your opponent's strong energy and attach it to their Tapu Lele, it would actually get instantly discarded. Now, at this point, you're basically turning Eneporter into Enhanced Hammer. Now, I should remind you at this stage that Enhanced Hammer was reprinted very recently in one of the Sun and Moon sets, so when the rotation hits in September, we're not going to be seeing Enhanced Hammer go away. If Enhanced Hammer were to go away, this card would be spectacular, because without Enhanced Hammer, we would all be sitting around looking for a way to get rid of special energy. And as it stands at the moment, we wouldn't have one, and this would all of a sudden be a really, really good shout. In a format where we still have Enhanced Hammer, Eneporter really becomes an alternative. Something you can use instead of Enhanced Hammer. And then you've got to decide if it's useful enough. So let's take something like Strong Energy. If you move it to a Tapu Lele, it actually ends up getting discarded. That's a little bit of a pain, because then your opponent can use something like Special Charge and actually recover it. Whereas if you use Strong Energy to move it to a Pokemon they're not using at the moment, something like Energy Keeper Carbink, which has seen a little bit of play in Australia this weekend at the International Championships, but isn't a great attacker, now it's arguably better than using an Enhanced Hammer, because now instead of giving your opponent the chance to recover that energy and draw back into it, you've moved it to a Pokemon that they don't want. Another great option for Eneporter is actually using it to the active Pokemon just before you take a KO. So let's say you've got something like a Buzzwole in the active, Buzzwole's about to take a KO, so what you do then is Eneporter a second double colourless energy onto that Zoroark your opponent's got, maybe from a bent Zoroark, and now all of a sudden you're KOing 2 double colourless energies rather than 1. Of course, in this situation, using an Enhanced Hammer to discard that second double colourless energy would essentially do the same thing as moving it to the active and then knocking out a Pokemon to discard it. The other good use for something like Eneporter here is Counter Energy. Counter Energy is one of these really good special energies that is really awkward to use. It provides colourless energy, but if it's attached to a non-EX, non-GX, it's every type of energy but only 2 at a time. So we see this used with something like a Watch and Learn Sudowoodo, who can then do this really good attack for just a single energy attachment. So what you can do here is use Eneporter to move Counter Energy over to one of your opponent's GX Pokemon, at which point it's a colourless energy. It's a special colourless energy. If there was a special energy card that just provided 1 colourless energy and had no extra bonuses, I assure you, ladies and gentlemen, it would see no play whatsoever because it wouldn't be good. And I really do believe that this is a very good card in the right circumstances. There is a decision to be made between Enhanced Hammer and this. Now, given that Enhanced Hammer last came out in Guardians Rising, it is likely, though far from guaranteed, that as it stands it will rotate in September 2019, at which point Eneporter could be your only option for Special Energy Hate, so bear it in mind. But in the meantime, there are certainly games where moving a Counter Energy or a double colourless to a Pokemon that can't take advantage of it is better than using just an Enhanced Hammer, because then your opponent can't drop a puzzle of time to go and recover it. I like this card. I'm giving it 3 Wassies. It's a fun tech. I'm not sure it's a great card at the moment, but I do feel extremely confident that there are a bunch of decks that can really take advantage of this, and a bunch of matchups where dropping this will be good and better than Enhanced Hammer, and Enhanced Hammer sees quite a lot of play at the moment. So I think 3 Wassies is fair, because there are still a bunch of times where enhanced hammer is probably better. But as always with these kind of cars, ladies and gentlemen, I want to hear from you guys. Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and so on, you can do so by going to patreon.com/PTCGRadio. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.